Hello and welcome to this video guide for completing the Whorleater Hard in Final Fantasy XIV A Realm Reborn. My name is TSDS and in this video you'll learn everything you need to know to survive Leviathan. Many people say no guide is needed for this boss as it's so easy, which is why it's so hard to find one, but then look at all those Cape Westwind guides and the Whorleater actually has a couple of important mechanics. At the start of the fight, Leviathan sits at one end of the boat and does nothing until around 90%. Main tanks get your aggro and everyone else can just wail on him. At 90%, Leviathan sinks back into the sea and the fight begins. Anytime Levi isn't on screen, it's a good idea to head to the middle of the boat. Where Levi will appear next is telegraphed by a huge plume of water. What he does next depends whether or not these plumes appear on the sides of the boat or at the end of the boat, but we'll get to that later. Here, he'll appear on the side and body slam the part of the boat in front of the plume. By standing in the middle of the boat, you can easily avoid these, although you will get launched towards the impact zone. Once he's here, main tanks pick him back up, and off tanks pick up his tail that appears on the opposite side. Welcome to the crux of the fight, and the biggest mechanic here, so listen up. As a DPS, if you deal physical based damage, you must attack his tail. His tail also counts as being behind the target for positional attacks. If you deal magical based damage, you must attack his head. The reason for this is that his tail reflects all magic damage and his head reflects all physical damage, although tanks are not affected by this. While this encounter is not hard, this is by far the most likely way a DPS will die in this fight if they don't know what they're doing. Now that mechanic is out of the way, let's talk about the others. At times in the fight, Sahagin wave spine adds will spawn that the off tank should pick up and the DPS should kill. Maybe these adds do something, maybe they don't. Do you want to find out? These adds spawn in pairs, but later in the fight, if only a single add spawns, note that it'll be a wave tooth and not a normal wave spine. Wave teeth must be killed ASAP because they can cast fears and leave fear pools on the ground. Getting hit by this or walking into a pool will cause you to lose control of your character for 10 seconds, so watch out. Sometimes, when Levi sinks back down, instead of repositioning himself on the side, he'll do something slightly different. Instead of appearing on the side, the plume of water will appear at one end of the boat and Levi will dash across, dealing damage to anyone standing in the half of the boat adjacent to his plume. If that sounds confusing, Levi will hit one half of the boat telegraphed by what half the water plume appears by. Dodging this requires a bit of hectic camera spinning in order to spot the end that the plume appears at, but it's not a big deal if you get hit by this. Leviathan will also spawn 4 Gaia Spume adds, one at each corner of the boat. These adds must be prioritised instantly because they will deplete the elemental conversions bar listed in the duty information. This bar is the key to surviving Levi's attempted raid wipe move later on. The elemental conversions will recharge over time, and at about 40% health, Levi will vanish again and you'll get the message that the elemental converter is now operable. It's time to push the button. Run over to the elemental converter located on one end of the boat and interact with it to shield the vessel. You need around 30 out of 100 in the conversion bar to be okay here, but this is largely irrelevant due to the gear differences of players, making this fight so much easier. Leviathan will pop up and go ham on the boat, but the shield will take most of the hit. And that's basically it. Healers will be targeted periodically by a whirlpool AoE splash attack, but the damage is nothing and there aren't really any other mechanics worth mentioning. And now, some final tips. For DPS, make sure you're attacking the correct part of Leviathan based on the type of damage you deal, and to swap to the adds as soon as you see them. For healers, this fight is very easy. Just throw down a few AoE heals now and then and you'll be okay. For tanks, if you're off tanking, just pick up the adds quickly and that's about it. It's very easy to go and fight Leviathan with no knowledge and still down it in one attempt in a dungeon finder group, but hopefully this guide will help out those who always want to know what they're getting into. If you enjoyed the guide, then let me know, and if there are any other guides or perspectives you would like to see, then check out my channel or feel free to ask me to create one. Thank you for watching and good luck.